So there were 5 puzzles. Man, we went through so many puzzles last time because I was like, oh, good. I finally found the repository where you can do all of the puzzles that you missed from the chapter. Maybe I should have, like, spaced them out a little. Well, now I don't think we're going to get to do them during the court case. I think now it's just all court all the time. It doesn't make sense. How has it come to this? The darned witch? Wow, language. Why did it have to happen to the professor of all people? You've got to believe me, Nick. I may be a spirit medium, but I'm no witch. Don't worry, I know it wasn't you. Say, have you seen Luke today? I haven't seen him since last night. He was crying all night. I didn't know what to say to him. No kidding. He's the one suffering the most from all this. Poor kid. He probably needs some time alone with his grief. We should leave him be. Yeah, he shouldn't have to see this trial. It'd be too hard for him. Oh, it's Espella. What are you doing here, Espella? Have you been cleared of the accusations? No, not yet. If only it was that easy. It's just that I'm not technically under arrest, so I got special permission to come here. I'm free to go wherever I like, within this building. Ah, I see. I heard about Mr. Layton. It's awful. He was such a good man. I'm sorry, Espella. Huh? What are you apologizing for? We were supposed to find clues connected to Bezella, but we couldn't find anything. And now the professor's been... No, don't say that. It's not your fault. And I don't believe a word of what they say about Maya. She isn't a witch. Thank you, Espella. Mr. Wright. Do you mind if I assist you in court today? Huh? I know I may not be of much use, but I'll do what I can. I want to help you and Maya. Espella? Excuse me? Who was that? Oh, it's the butler who did it. You're... Grey Earl, butler of the late Master Belduke. I have come to inquire after Miss Maya. Again with the enquire. It is most regrettable what happened yesterday. Oh, thank you for coming all the way here, real murderer. You look really pale, Jean. Are you all right? Oh, please don't worry about me. It's merely that since the incident, sleep has eluded me. I spent the night searching through Master's notes on alchemy. I hope there might be some mention of a method by which something turned to gold may be reverted back to its original form. You were looking for a way to rescue the professor? Human fate is often cruel, but that's also why we must never lose hope. Wait a minute. Oh, show him again. He doesn't have an amethyst anymore. He has an emerald instead. He's totally the murderer. The trial is about to start. Proceed to the chamber. Yes, we're coming. Nick, cheer up, Maya. I'm not going to let them sentence you. I just wish all this would stop already. Whether someone's a witch or not. No one deserves to be burned. I know, I can't stand for it either. See, look at that. Nothing gets past old Heaton. I notice everything. I've already got it all figured out. Now, if you'll kindly excuse me, I must return to murdering. Get back in the court. We appreciate you coming to see us. Okay, sure. Hold it! Something's bothering me. Jean seems somewhat odd today. Let's go, Mr. Wright. The trial is about to begin. Nothing gets past old Heaton. I even noticed Phi's eyebrow. Oh, man. Oh, they put her right in the cage right from the start.
The trial of Maya Fey shall now begin, as scheduled.
Whew! We're scheduling things now. This really is London.
Knights of the court.
By London, I mean Labyrinthia.
To cross your swords of justice.
Inquisitor Zacharias Barnum always has his sword ready for the work of justice.
Defense ready, Your Honor. At this stage, I just gotta give it all I've got.
It would appear the defender has thrown down the gauntlet, Sir Barnum. Now, before we begin, may I have a word with you, defender?
Yes, Your Honor.
Last time we met, you stood in this court as an apprentice baker.
Yeah, I do think I do think we're gonna wind up with that we're somehow gonna go, oh well, the final thing is it can't be Jean because they did set that up. They said that when they were talking to Barnum before, and they said, why couldn't oh, how do you know the alchemist isn't a witch? And they were like, oh well, the alchemist is a man.
In all honesty, when I saw you for the first time, I thought to myself, a baker should stick to bread baking.
Is that so? What a fine first impression I made.
However, today you are not merely some befuddled maker of sweet buns. I'm obliged to recognize you as a knight of law and justice, on par with Inquisitor Zacharias Barnum. Now may your duel begin. Fight bravely and expose the truth behind this heinous crime.
All right, we're all counting on you, Inquisitor Barnum. I knew she was a witch as soon as I laid my eyes on her. She's got witch written all over her.
Rabble, 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 rabble.
Why not put the baker on trial? Bake the baker, I say! Barnum! 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 Barnum!
They treat him like some sort of celebrity.
These
He may
sweet
be
buns.
adored by the crowds, but when he pointed his sword my way, you managed to shield me from his accusations. Maya clearly isn't a witch, so surely your victory is certain.
Thank you for believing in me, Espella.
Espella Cantabella. I have given you leave to come to this trial today. However, that does not mean that the charges against you have been dropped. Rather than worry about others, you should consider your own situation.
Thank you for granting me your permission, Inquisitor.
Inquisitor Barnum, you may begin your opening statement. As you wish, my lord. As usual, let us commence this trial by first recounting the events, if it pleases you, Sir Blue Knight. As, you wish, Inquisitor. I still can't get used to this terminology. This heinous crime occurred in the residence of the late Newton Belduke, the alchemist. Here is the sketched plan of his residence. He didn't dab yet. He will. This room, of a somewhat questionable nature, is the alchemist's study, in which the incident took place. The only ones present at the moment of the crime were the accused and the victim, no one else. The witnesses who arrived at the scene seconds later have indicated where they found the accused and the victim. Very well. The sketch is accepted as evidence. The accused took Sir Layton's life with the most cruel use of magic. A living man 1 second, a golden statue the next. Such wickedness. Magic that turns things into gold? Sure, why not? Why not? Several townspeople rushed to the room and paid witness to the horror of this magic. The accused has been captured and charged. Goodness, that is terrifying. Rumors have reached me that the victim was a most scintillating man. I'm not certain whether it was prior to or after. But incidentally, was this Sir Layton not the same hat maker who attended our previous trial? No, he wasn't a hat ma- Bizarre as it is. Sir Layton's profession and origin remain unknown. He was a stranger in this city. That is all we know. And you, sir, his acquaintance, you are an unusual presence in our city yourself. Today's case certainly is peculiar. And that is not the last of the peculiarities, my lord. The alchemist's study has been the scene of another strange incident in the past. Yes, I remember as if it were yesterday, the mysterious death of Newton Belduke himself. Indeed, my lord. Regrettably, the only case of witchcraft still to remain unsolved in our fair city. The witch may have escaped her punishment back then, but perhaps today is the day on which both these mysterious crimes shall be solved. I think so too. What? What are you implying? Patience, you will know soon enough, Sir Suddenly Pale Blue Knight. How interesting. It seems that the Inquisition have something up their sleeve. Now, Inquisitor Barnum, you may begin. Thank you, my lord. The Inquisition summons the witnesses to this malicious crime of witchcraft. If only I'd made it to the room sooner. Maybe I could have prevented all this from happening. I won't let Maya take the rap for this. I'll find every single crack in their testimony and prove it wasn't her. And I'll do it without taking any damage, because I'm good at video games. Welcome to the Witch's Court, honorable witnesses. Now, let us hear your names and occupations. You look considerably different than before. I'm known far and wide as a mere Punchenbaug the First, soon to be the new head of Punchenbaug's retail organization, PRO.
Hang on!
Wait a minute, witness! What's that, Blue Squire? You're that guy from the previous trial. Just what the heck's happened to you? You look like you've been on one of those ultimate makeover shows. Whatever do you mean? Me name is Emir Punchenbag the First, soon to be head of Punchenbag. Okay, you already said that. What is the meaning of this, Inquisitor? I do not care to delve into this witness's personal affairs. Looks like he remembers them all too well. Witnesses! Pray continue. That was poison? Do you mind? Whoa. Camera left. He's pouring poison and drinking it. Oh, dearie me. It is I who usually asks the questions. I am, as you see, but a humble teacher. Call me Ms. Primstone. The children of Labyrinthia Primary School have the privilege of learning the truths about this world from me. An elementary school teacher, huh? Good to know at least one witness seems sensible. Oh no. All trial long? All trial long. Is it okay if just the parrot testifies? Please? My faithful muse here is Cracker, the musical parrot. No one understands music like Cracker. Aside from me, naturally. At least it's not another goat. But it is another parrot. You have cross-examined a parrot before. Do not forget this. What a smart bird. He just imitated that teacher perfectly. This is naturally going to be, like... Luke is on the witness stand. I'm Luke Triton. My occupation is the professor's apprentice. Luke? Luke, but why? What are you doing there? I made up my mind. I'm doing this for the professor. A gentleman has to pursue the truth. But, Luke, that's where the Inquisition's witnesses stand. I'll never... I'll never forgive that witch. A gentleman shouldn't glare at people as if he wants to hit them in the face. Luke! Your friend today can be your enemy tomorrow. Such is the hard reality of the battlefield. Witnesses, we will now hear your testimonies. Tell us all of this wicked incident which you have been unfortunate enough to witness. Poison, sir. Don't they search you before you come into court? I heard a scream and an incantation, but when I entered the room, the victim was already all shiny. Mayhaps something caused discord between erstwhile friends. Mr. Silk Hat had a knife at the ready in his hand. The professor must have seen through Miss Meyer's deception and confronted her right there, face to face. I see. Thank you all. However, one part of the testimony was somewhat confusing. You there, the singer. Singer? Could you possibly mean me, Birdley the Bard, Your Excellence? Yes, that would be you, singer. This staff, you said, sung about. It is as you suspect, my lord. This very witch's scepter. There are 2 different magic gems attached, meaning the perpetrator could have used 2 types of magic. Yeah, hide your heart. Don't you come in here using your perform. Although I guess if it's purely instrumental, that's fine. Just no rhyming. Yeah, it would seem so. This gem here enables the use of a gold transmutation spell, Goldor. Goldor. Just the word alone makes the tiny hairs on the back of my neck stand up. Also, you said it while holding the staff. Didn't you just turn someone into gold? You fiend? Ha ha, that's the one, all right. That's the dreadful incantation that I, Emir Punchenbaug the First, also heard. Oh, dearie, dearie me. Yada. Is this JoJo? Yori yori daze. I've seen that scepter, so have I. Oh, dearie, dearie me. Oh, no, wait, we've established already. Yori, yori, does I? How dare she do that to the professor? By the way, this witch's scepter was found on the floor near the victim. If you'll turn your attention to the sketched plans, it was located right here. A scepter dropped by the accused would naturally tumble to exactly that spot.
Objection!
Inquisitor Barnum, what you're saying amounts to nothing more than a baseless assumption. You are on edge today, Sir Blue Knight. Is it because your friend is on trial? Perhaps you had better cool yourself down. Well, anyway, the court accepts the scepter as evidence. Sword oath. Thank you, my lord. Okay, we do get spells. Okay. Transmutes the caster into solid gold. The spell will transmute the closest target within range. Wait, what about the purple one? Inquisitor Barnum, may I ask you something? What is it now, Sir Blue Knight? We know that one of the gems is for the spell Goldor, but what about the other one? A naive question. Huh? Naivety may be no hindrance to a baker who spends most of his time amidst bread, but it can be your undoing here in court. Would a knight put a weapon in his enemy's hand? He's telling me to do my homework, huh? Mr. Wright, I'll look for information about that magic gem in the Grand Grimoire. Thank you, Espella. That would be great. Just leave it to me. She seems very happy to help. The defender may interrogate the witnesses. Cross-examination. Here we go.
Hold it!
And, what is all this about exactly? What do you mean, Blue Squire? Your gaudy, colorful outfit. I mean, your attire was different last time, a little more modest. The man you knew back then is no more. I'm a new man now, reborn into the higher echelons of society. What's he drinking? There's a skull and crossbones mark on that bottle. Enough idle chatter. The witnesses heard a scream and an incantation. Is that correct? That's right. It's just like what you said earlier, Inquisitor Barnum. It was the spell Goldor, and it was without a doubt the voice of the accused that said it. However, it's rather peculiar. When I saw the accused and the victim together last time, they seemed to be on friendly terms. The next witness will dispel your doubts, my lord.
Hold it!
What's all this about a knife in hand? Are you saying you think they quarreled? The other day, I saw you all together in this very court, and you were evidently friends. Well, yeah, that's true, but what's that got to do with... Now, everyone, listen carefully. No chatting in the back row. What I say now will be in the next exam. Ms. Prinstone's lesson, number 5. Friendship leads to nothing but trouble. People would not break up and part their ways in anger if they did not become friends in the first place. No friends. That's the way to do it. The kids in our class must grow up to be model citizens. Yada yada does it. What I saw in that room curdled the blood in my veins. Mr. Silkhat was pointing that glittering knife. Who said that?
Hang on!
Is everything okay, Luke? No, of course it's not okay. The professor was a true gentleman. No gentleman would go around threatening people with knives. He's slamming that table. I know, right? She's like, the key to success. Step 1, no friends. Ooh, uh-oh. Silly boy, I saw your professor pointing a knife. Are you insinuating that I am a liar, you cheeky little whippersnapper? The professor would never do that. You don't know him. At least Luke's found someone else to antagonize. Mr. Wright. What is it? I think there was some important information in Miss Primrose's testimony. Really? Oh, I'm sorry. It's not my place to say things like that. I didn't notice anything. What could that be? What was Espella about to say? Espella, why don't you tell us what you noticed? Oh, is that okay? It's just something I'd like to ask Miss Primstone about. We'll just go ahead and ask her. Excuse me, Miss Primstone, do you mind if I ask you a question? Oh, it's you, Miss Espella Cantabella. Miss Primstone, did you actually see the knife that Mr. Layton was holding? I did, as a matter of fact, yes. I remember that glinting blade very well. A most frightening sight it was, too. And you saw that from the door, didn't you? Now, if we look at the sketch... When the incident took place, Mr. Layton must have been facing this way, correct? That must have been the case. Otherwise, the witness would not have been able to see it. Well, that's all I wanted to ask. The more information we have, the better, right? The direction the professor was facing. That could be important. This information shall be added to the court record. Okay, floor plan has been updated. I'm sorry I jumped in like that, but I really wanted to help. Not at all, Espella. We were able to get some more info, which may just come in handy. You think so? Now then, the next witness shall continue with the testimony.
Hold it!
This is almost as bad as the clown fiesta. Would you mind describing what you saw, without singing about it? Phoenix Wright, my new hero. As you wish, my musically impaired friend. Simply put, when I entered the room, the victim was worth his weight in gold, for obvious reasons. He tipped over and fell heavily onto the floor. The room became drearily silent. And then I heard that scepter tumbling across the floor.
Hang on!
May I ask you something, Miss Primrose? Yore yore daze. Yore yore daze. My dear, do not frighten me so. I feel like a schoolgirl caught napping during class. Ms. Primstone, did you see the witch's scepter at the crime scene? Well, about that, I must confess I do not really recall. You don't remember? When I went into the room, the golden man fell down and made quite the ruckus. That is why I did not notice a scepter being dropped. So you didn't see it after all. But I am certain that witch girl had it. She must have been hiding it behind her back.
Objection!
Please don't assume Maya is a witch just because she's been accused. Ms. Primstone is certainly quick to make assumptions. Barnum's being real quiet through all of this. Shouldn't he be jumping in and objecting to everything that I say? We would like to hear the next witness's testimony.
Hold it!
Luke, open your eyes. Maya isn't a witch. Ever since we came to this town, lots of unbelievable things have happened. And that's why, from now on, I'll only believe what I see with my own eyes. Luke. When I went into that room, the only people I saw were the professor and Maya. The professor had been turned into gold, and Maya dropped that scepter. That's not true. What? Maya. I didn't have any scepter, and we weren't the only ones in the... Silence! The accused has no right to speak. Be silent or you will face punishment. Does Layton's hand count as a weapon? It's weird that they were saying, like, oh, he had a knife, and she was like, oh, I saw it glittering. It's like, wasn't that just his finger? We can end this trial immediately should you decide you feel talkative again. Sorry. Well, Luke, is that really the truth? Huh? Did you really see the scepter? I don't know. When the professor turned to gold and collapsed right in front of me, everything seemed to fade to black. And then I could have sworn I at least heard Maya drop the scepter. The scepter was found at the scene of the crime. That is the unavoidable truth. Only the accused could have dropped it. This isn't looking good. I feel so sorry for Luke. He's so full of anger and despair that he can't think clearly. He said he can't forgive the witch. I understand how he feels. Anyway, I need to find a way to calm Luke down, first of all. Alright, so what do we have for evidence? Case outline. Maya Fey, charged with witchcraft. Behind the painting was green. The other ones aren't going to be relevant, but they haven't given us the purple one yet. Just give him a marshmallow. This is a good idea. Oh, face to face, but we've established according to this they were not facing each other. Right?
Objection!
Yeah, that's it. Luke, you said that you will only believe what you see with your own eyes. But what you think you saw may not be the whole truth. Huh? What do you mean? Take a close look at the sketch of the crime scene. At the time of the incident, Professor Layton and Maya were standing here. Now, we've learned from Miss Primstone's testimony which way the professor was facing. He was facing this way. Oh. You've testified that the professor confronted Maya face to face. But looking at the sketch of where they were standing, one thing is clear. There is a contradiction in your testimony. And now the Phoenix Wright theme song is playing.
Objection!
Dabbing strike! Pshaw! Whether they were facing each other or not is of no relevance whatsoever. They were the only ones in that room. One was a victim, thus the other must be a witch.
Objection!
I will ask you to wait before jumping to conclusions, Inquisitor. Think back to Ms. Primstone's testimony. She told us that the professor was pointing a knife at someone threateningly. However, you can see in the sketch that he wasn't threatening Maya. So then, who was he pointing the knife at? Why are we still saying knife? We know he wasn't holding a knife. Luke, what is it? The professor would never point a knife at anyone. I was the one who opened the door to that room, so I was the first witness, and I saw no knife. Miss Primstone's testimony is not reliable. Yada yada does it. Will you look at this child sputtering nonsense and talking badly of his elders? Inquisitor Barnum? Yes, my lord. It should pose no difficulty to verify whether or not the victim had a knife. After all, that sparkling golden body of his has been found at the scene of the crime, has it not? Indeed it has, my lord. Court attendants, you heard the judge. Bring the victim into the courtroom. Seems like they're going to bring the golden statue. Gulp. Professor. The emote appeared oh, nice. Nicely timed. Look at that. Did it get damaged in transit? Professor! Professor! So this is the power of the golden transmutation spell. Most spectacular. It looks like the work of the finest artisans. I assure you it is the work of no artisans, my lord. By the way, the missing arm has not yet been found. Why not? Where is it? I can't believe this. Professor! I suppose we should add the victim to the evidence. The poor professor, who, while searching for evidence, became evidence. He's clearly unarmed. Boy. This is unfortunate. I thought the evidence would be as good as gold. But although it technically is, we are still no closer to discerning whether or not the victim was holding a knife. Let me speak, please. Wow, that's not smart. Didn't we say last time that if you said anything else, you would be dunked into fire and die? Just be quiet. The professor didn't have a knife, and also there was another person in that room. The real witch was there too. Please believe me. Dabbing silence! Accused, do I really need to warn you again? Inside the cage, you are to behave as a bird that has forgotten its song. Speak again and you will be punished. Or are you in a particular hurry to taste the flames of justice, little bird?
Objection!
But it's true that someone else could have been at the crime scene. Look at the sketch. The victim was facing towards someone, and that person wasn't Maya. Sir Blue Knight, your ignorance is no longer even a surprise. Huh? You do not know what transpired at the crime scene. You think this man was pointing at another person, you say? Let me tell you this, nearly everyone in this court, other than you, knows what Sir Hat was pointing at. What? Well, honorable witnesses, is that not so? Oi, Emir Punchenbog the First, love me some gossip and stories of the occult. Nobody cares what I'm saying because it rhymes. And it's not even a good rhyme. Beast and death? Wait, what? Elusive like mist, the magical beast, its chilling breath. Oh, he rhymed. But mist and beast don't rhyme. The absolute worst. I'm declaring it. Worst Phoenix Wright character. Yada yada does it. You could use some education, Blue Knight. I can offer you private tuition, but it will not come cheap. If the professor wasn't confronting Maya... Witnesses, you will now testify. Tell us all about this other presence at the crime scene. Uh-oh. He's poisoned already. We all know what happened to that alchemist, so this case is no mystery. Same place, same magic trick. This time, her luck ran out, and she dropped that magic scepter. It happened because the professor unraveled the mystery behind all these witches. Man, you guys are the worst with your puns. The same magic trick was used. They are referring to an incident from 3 months ago. Much like this incident, a man lost his life to witchcraft in that very room. It was the master of that residence, Sir Newton Belduke, the alchemist. He suffered death by strangulation. Finger marks were left on his neck. Well, we'll just take fingerprints. He had locked himself in his study, and the key was still in his pocket. In other words, no one could have entered that room. The perpetrator disappeared from a locked room, just like in this case. Except in this case, the room was not locked. A large amount of powdered medicine was spilt all over the floor. Powdered medicine? Protein powder? Sir Belduke was an alchemist. He possessed various medicinal concoctions. Due to the presence of that powder, had anyone entered that room, clear footprints would have remained, yet there were none. That's the kind of mystery that the professor would have loved to solve. Thus, there were 2 unnatural circumstances to Sir Belduke's death. The culprit's disappearance from a locked room, and the fact that they appeared not to have walked on the floor. It's almost as if they flew away, or as if this thing behind the painting was open and you could reach through and whatever. In other words, it couldn't have been the Demir magic that was used in my case the other day. Seems like the killer levitated above the floor, strangled Belduke, and vanished into thin air. But what does that have to do with this trial? It has been 3 months since that murder. Despite that, we still haven't been able to find the witch responsible. But now, having eluded us for so long, that witch has finally been brought before this court. We will have justice. What? No way. Now he thinks Maya killed the alchemist, too. We weren't even here back then, but it's not like I can explain that to him. Well then, why don't you interrogate the witnesses, now that you are aware of the connection between the 2 murders? You can't be serious. 3 months ago, we weren't even... Defender, you may interrogate the witnesses. May their testimonies lead us to the truth. Unlikely.
Hold it!
You're talking about Mr. Belduke's murder, which took place in a locked room? Yeah, a real shocker that. Everyone was talking about it. People don't say this out loud, but you know, eh? You're thinking it too, eh? I don't have the faintest idea what you're talking about. Ain't it clear as day? He was an alchemist. An alchemist! Alchemy's just like magic, ain't it? Sir Belduke was a man. Only a woman can be a witch. What's more, witchcraft has nothing to do with alchemy. They're different. Alchemy is the mysterious art of manipulating the forces of nature, or so it is said. That sounds a lot like magic to me. Magic's incomprehensible to regular people. It's all magic, really. And you know, a couple of days before the witch got him, there was that lightning what struck. Lightning? Glad you're asking, because I like telling that one. All of a sudden, like a bolt from the blue sky. There was this bolt from the sky, only it wasn't blue. All of a sudden, like a bolt from the blue sky, there was this bolt from the sky, only it wasn't blue. Nice. The sky lit up and turned blood red, and then out of nowhere, an old-looking bell tower appeared in a burst of flames. Makes you realize Mother Nature is pretty powerful stuff. Okay. You've strayed off from the topic at hand, witness. This is a courthouse, not an inn. Save your thrilling stories for later.
Hold it!
Would you care to elaborate on that, Miss Primstone? You could say that I am a scholar, and that my knowledge is vast and diverse. I know a thing or two about witchcraft. Therefore, I have a very good idea of the type of magic that must have been used this time. The magic behind this mysterious figure that appeared out of nowhere, glided through the air, and vanished after making the kill? Indeed, yes, and the witch's scepter confirms my theory. A brilliant deduction. I am honored to have studied under an excellent teacher such as yourself, Ms. Primstone. Amir, go home. You're drunk and poisoned. You have drunk enough poison to kill the entire town. She was his teacher? Actually, I guess that kind of explains a lot. Our occult crime analysts have arrived at the same conclusion, because that's a thing. That's a thing that you guys have here. Mr. Wright, I found it. The page about the purple magic gem. The spell's called Famalia. Famalia? What does it do? The spell Famalia, bound within this purple gem, is used to summon a familiar. Familiars appear out of nowhere, glide through the air, and vanish when their task is accomplished. They are evil, bloodthirsty spirits used by witches to perform outrageous crimes. It's basically like a Mr. Meeseeks. Evil spirits? Are you saying that the witch used a familiar too? Dabbing slam! It was a familiar that took Sir Belduke's life, and now it has appeared again. Sir Silkhat was probably trying to ward off the evil spirit with his knife. But what good is a knife against an occult creature? It completed the task given to it by the witch and promptly vanished. Thus bringing us to the conclusion that... it sounds familiar somehow. Awful. Sir Belduke and Sir Silkhat were both killed by the same witch. What? Yeah, I beat you to the Meeseeks. Basically a Lala. Exactly. Summon Lalafell. Summon Lala. Alright, what an unexpected turn of events. The two incidents have been shown to be connected, due to the same witch's scepter having been used in both cases. Summons forth a magical familiar from the shadows. Although it possesses a physical form, it is completely weightless. It also doesn't say what the word is that you have to say. Oh, this is terrible. Now Maya is accused of 2 murders. Yada yada does it. I was right, as always. This gruesome murder will be in the next exam. Make sure to take notes. Now I shall divulge what really happened. We are all ears, Miss Primstone. That hat maker was pointing the knife at the witch's from. Okay.
Hold it!
Tell me more. Did you actually see the familiar? Yada yada yada. No, I did not. When that boy opened the door, the familiar had just disappeared. Had the boy opened the door sooner, no doubt we all would have seen it. If he were my student, I would have made sure to teach him not to dilly-dally.
Hang on!
Is everything all right, Luke? You seem to be in deep thought about something. No, it's not right at all. Is there something in Ms. Primstone's testimony that you'd like to comment on? That's what I keep telling you. The professor wouldn't point a knife at anyone. Yada yada does it. What an impertinent child. I'm telling you, I saw a knife. I distinctly saw the glint of a sharp blade.
Objection!
At any rate, as we can see now, the victim's arm is missing. As such, there is no proof that he had a knife.
Objection!
That is but a mere detail. It matters not. A mere detail? Matters not? Oh my. Anyhow, I wonder, where could that missing arm be? Yeah, that ought to be looked into.
Hang on!
Mister, do you have something you'd like to share with us? Mr. Amir! It's Mr. Amir Punchenberg the First to you, Bluey. The likes of you ought to show some respect for a future man of wealth such as me. Did he pick up the arm and sell it? You seem to be looking ahead to a future full of newly gained riches. I can look wherever I bleedin' please. Anyway, why are you looking at me like that? I don't know about that golden bloke's right arm. Excuse me, Mr. Wright. What is it, Espella? I may be wrong, but there's something about that man. Wouldn't you say he looks, suspicious? It's not just you. Everything about him is so shady it makes me want to double-check my pockets. Mr. Amir, stop pretending you don't know anything about the victim's missing arm. Pretending? I told you, I know nothing. Nada. Zero. Nil. I ain't seen it, or heard about it, or put it in my pocket. Put it in your pocket? It wasn't me, honest. Seriously, I got nothing to do with it.
Objection! Mia! You lying, cheating, good for nothing! You tried to deceive me!
We've seen this guy before, right? Who was he? You want to know who I am? I'm Price, the pawnbroker. Oh, yes, that's right. And this man is a shameless, cheating bum. He had the nerve to lie to me. What did he lie to you about? I'll tell you. On the day of the crime, Amir came into my shop. He waltzed up to me saying he'd got his hands on a superb work of art, rare as gold dust. I think I know where this is going. That work of art, could it be? I've got it right here. Wait. What does it say underneath it? Yahari. Kore wa. Yore yore. Hakase. It's the professor's arm. The other two witnesses have disappeared. It's pure gold, exquisitely crafted. It was entitled Towards Tomorrow or something like that. I'd never seen a piece of gold so fine before. And so, suspecting nothing, I paid that rascal a rather handsome sum. Who would have thought? And what am I hearing now? That it was a human arm, no less? You, sir, are a monster. You're as bad as a witch's familiar yourself. I didn't know it was his arm, I swear. I thought he was already like that. What do you mean? I was last to the scene and it caught my eye right away. That golden arm pointing up at the ceiling with such optimism and authority. I thought, it looks like it's showing me the way to a better, brighter, richer tomorrow. To me, it was a work of art, a precious one at that. And then it found its way into your pocket, and you pawned it. You mounted it on a crude stand, gave it a tawdry title, and passed it off as some kind of a sculpture. Don't try and look away from the truth now. Darn it! I can look wherever I darn please. I'll look away from the facts and forward to the future. Always look on the bright side. That's Emir Punchinbog's motto. So we reattached the arm, and now we just have him standing behind the desk, just eternally pointing. So that whenever we point, he's automatically synced up to us. I like this. This is good. Where were we now? Ah, yes. The victim's arm has been reattached by one of our masterful craftsmen. Knights of the Court. We may resume the Inquisition. At least one thing's clear now. As everyone can see, the victim definitely wasn't holding a knife. Yada yada does it. It seems I may have been mistaken after all. When you think about it, the victim had already turned to gold when we entered the room. According to the witnesses' testimonies, that was the case, yes. Well, then I'm sure you'll concede that it was easy to mistake that glittering pointer finger for a knife. Indeed, the victim's finger has a glint to it, resembling that of a sword's edge. Such a sense of power and intensity, it's enough to send a shiver down the spine of anyone being pointed at. No puzzle is a match for the power of the professor's pointing finger. I guess no one remembers I'm known for pointing like that, too. I think your pointing finger makes quite an impression, too, Mr. Wright. She's just taking pity on me. Is that all you had to say, Sir Blue Knight? Huh? As I said before, whether the victim had a knife or not is completely irrelevant. Oh, you know what? I should save. We should get in the habit of saving periodically. I'm also going to start rotating saves. Okay. Primstone, again, you're fired. Yeah, what he said. You better apologize to me now. Badgering me for no reason like that. Is that all there is to it, or could that arm hold some other clues? We've come this far. Maybe there's something else you could ask about. She's right. I need to ask some more questions. Oh, well then, Mr. Amir, perhaps you could tell me one more thing about that arm. You found the arm on the floor pointing upwards, you said. Yeah, I did. Find his keepers, I say. It was pointing straight up at the ceiling. The arm somehow happened to fall down in such a way that it landed upright. What are the odds of that? Actually, that reminds me of a puzzle. Now, if you could just show us on this floor plan here, I'd like to know the exact spot where you found the victim's arm. I'm not sure why this is going to matter. Is this really... This is somehow going to matter? Sure, I remember that well. It was right there. Yes. That's where you would expect it to have fallen. Now, if that's where it was, then something's definitely not right. If you keep looking at that sketch so intensely, you shall burn a hole in it. It's the long arm of the law. Yes, I suppose it is. Or perhaps you're going to claim there's a contradiction in it somewhere? This arm is the final clue left by the professor. Even after turning to gold, he was pointing out something important. Namely, the key to solving this case. Well, Defender, do you see any problems in the locations as marked on the sketch? Actually, there is a problem. Of course there's a problem. Psh! And where would that be precisely? The professor's arm has armed me with some vital evidence. See? Even he's not slacking either. Its location leads to a huge contradiction. If Maya had really dropped the scepter just before they came in, or right as they came in, it would have knocked over the arm. What contradiction does the victim's arm create?
Got it.
The contradiction is right here. And this is the witch's scepter? Let's go over the order of events as per the witnesses' testimonies. First, the witch cast a spell on the professor, turning him to gold. When all of you rushed to the crime scene, that golden statue fell down, making a loud noise. Next, the witch dropped the scepter. What are you getting at, Sir Blue Knight? All witnesses agree to this order of events. That's right. They all agree that's how it happened. But then there's the arm. Well, what about it? Spit it out. Let's assume that Maya was the witch. Now, look at the sketch again. The witch dropped the scepter after having turned the professor into gold. The scepter tumbled along the floor, even though nobody said it did, and was found here, as asserted by the prosecution. However, that would be impossible. There's no way it could have been there. Oh, I see it now. Ugh. The arm. It was William Shatner. I'm glad you seem to have noticed. The victim's arm was on the floor, right there, standing on its end. Therefore, the scepter couldn't possibly have fallen that way. Ergo, it couldn't have been the defendant who dropped the scepter. In other words, Maya is not a witch. Ugh. We're doing it. We're chipping away at his defenses. Witches in this game always drop their scepters. It is required. Witch School 101, Day 1, Lesson 1, Textbook, Page 1, drop your scepter. Order! Order! How can this be? The Inquisition's reasoning has been proven invalid through just one single piece of unusual evidence. Oh, biggest of plays heading out? Alright, sounds good. I will catch you later. Call it Layton's magical touch. The professor sacrificed his arm to leave us just the evidence needed to turn this thing around. Just the thing needed to Gyakten this Saibon. That was amazing, Mr. Wright. Professor.
Objection.
Dabbing pound! An admirable deduction, Sir Blue Knight. That I cannot deny. Even if we are to assume your reasoning is correct and that girl in the cage is not a witch. Even if. In the many trials I have attended, I have become well-versed in certain aspects of magic. I am all too aware of its potential to confuse people, befuddle their minds, and make their memories hazy. No one can resist such a maddening influence. What are you trying to say, Inquisitor? The scepter could not have tumbled across the floor if the arm were in its way. However, can we be sure that is where the arm was? Are all of the witnesses able to confirm its location at the time?
Objection.
We've heard what they had to say several times now. They agree that the scepter fell after the victim fell over.
Objection.
And yet no one actually saw the scepter being dropped. Witnesses, think back to that incident once more and make up a new story. Did the golden statue fall over first, or did the staff fall before it? Think carefully about what you have seen. Everything seen and heard, everything hinges on your testimonies. May your words guide us to the truth and decide the fate of this caged witch. Wait, they switched places. That's not allowed. Stay next to where your name card is. I was about to get ready to leave, but it seems there is need for further questioning. Testify once more, witnesses. Tell us of the golden statue and the Telea Magica.